Hey everybody, Michael Symon here from Angeline at the Borgata. So Mother's Day is around the corner. Unfortunately, with everything going on right now, I'm not going to be with my mom, but I wanted to make a little dish in her honor. So Mom, who's the restaurant is named after, Angeline, we are going to make your mom's pizza. So we're going to celebrate you and your mom. So when I was growing up, and obviously when you were growing up, I made this great pizza dough, this Sicilian-style pizza dough because she's Sicilian, and just topped it with easy tomato sauce and mozzarella cheese and a little bit of fresh basil or even some pesto. So super simple, but one of my favorite memories of childhood, one of the things I loved doing with you when I was a kid. And I wish I was there doing it with you today, but Mom, soon I'm going to be over. Maybe we'll make some pizza and you're gonna make me lasagna. So this is really easy to make at home, guys. So I have 2.5 cups of bread flour here. You can use all-purpose flour too. Bread gives it a little bit more structure and a little bit more crunch on the crust, so I like that. And then we have some fresh yeast. 3 teaspoons of fresh yeast. If you're using dry yeast, you would use 1 teaspoon. To the 3 teaspoons of fresh yeast, we're gonna add 1 cup of warm water. Make sure the water is not too hot because it will kill the yeast. And just mix that together. So with the salt, you could either mix the salt in with the flour so it doesn't come in direct contact with the yeast, or you could get the dough going and then mix in the salt. Either one works. You just don't want to throw the yeast in with your water or the salt in with the water because it'll kill the yeast immediately. So we get this going. Some people like to put sugar in the dough. We never did that when I was young growing up, so I don't put sugar in the dough. So in goes our yeasty water. If you have a stand mixer, you could do this with a stand mixer, or you could just mix it by hand. If you mix it, it's a pretty loose, easy, forgiving dough. So if you mix it by hand, once it starts to get incorporated, you're just gonna mix and mix, and then you get in there with your hands and you fold and fold until this ball gets smooth. It's gonna take you by hand, I would say about 8 minutes of mixing. If you do it in a stand mixer, you could probably do it in about 5 minutes. But see, it gets like kind of raggy in the beginning in strands. And then as you begin to work it, it will come together and get smooth. So you're just gonna keep working it until it gets really silky and smooth. I'm gonna set it to the side. Once it's all smooth, you cover it with a little bit of wax paper. You put it in a warm spot in your house. You let it double in size. It's gonna take 30 minutes to an hour depending on the area that you're in. Once it has doubled in size, you get a little sheet tray. You oil the bottom with extra virgin olive oil. You flip the dough onto the sheet tray and you press it to the corners. Usually it'll stretch back a little bit at first, but that's fine because you have other stuff that you could do to let it relax for a second before you continue to stretch. So we made just a simple tomato sauce. This is San Marzano tomatoes, extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of fresh basil, kosher salt, blend it. You don't even have to cook it for this kind of sauce. You just put it on and the sauce cooks when it's in the oven because it's very lightly sauced. I'm using fresh mozzarella. You could use any type of cheese that you want. I like the creaminess of the fresh mozz. Make sure it's not too wet because then it's gonna seep out onto your dough. And I like to just put little like 8 to 10 chunks through, and then we're gonna top it with parm. And then at the end, you could put on either a little bit of pesto or fresh basil leaves and sea salt. So you push this back out to the corners like this. Before we started this whole thing, I turned my oven on about 450, 500 degrees because you need some heat. So you get this out to the corners. And again, if it keeps stretching back, just take a second, let it rest for 5 minutes, and then press it again. And I love a Sicilian, I love all styles of pizza. I like Naples style pizza that's very thin, cooked in 90 seconds. I love a New York slice, which has a little bit more crunch to it. I love a classic Sicilian, it's a little bit thicker. The one that my grandmother made was somewhere in between what they call the grandma slice and the Sicilian. So it's not as thick as some of the Sicilians you see in stores, and it's not as thin as a grandma. It's almost in between, but because we use that bread flour in the hot oven, it gets really crunchy underneath, and it's super tasty. Now, I don't go heavy on sauce. I take like 3 tablespoons. We spread it around, and when my grandmother made it, you went all the way to the edge with the sauce. So you kind of get my favorite part, and it makes it a little harder to get out of the pan, but I don't care, because you get these kind of burnt edges right around the edge, and those are the part that like my sister and I would fight over. Then we take our fresh mozz, put it on top. If you wanted to do pepperoni, you could put pepperoni on here. You could put sausage on here. You could do kind of anything you want in this world. Sprinkle of kosher salt, a little bit of cracked black pepper. You could do chili flakes, and then we just drizzle it with some extra virgin oil. And then this goes in our 450 to 500 degree oven until it gets super golden. It's gonna take 20 to 25 minutes. So I'm gonna put this in the oven, and when it comes out, we're gonna top it with just a little bit of pesto and fresh basil. Come on, Mom, happy Mother's Day. All right, so our Sicilian pizza has been baking for about 20 minutes. Golden. Cheese is melted. You got that crust on the outside. I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of chili flakes. We always topped it with a couple little chugs of pesto, all that extra virgin olive oil on top. Oh. And then we're gonna hit it with some fresh basil, some whole leaves, a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and we are off to the races. Oh, Mom, you're gonna love this. There you go, you guys. Sicilian-style pizza, the one I grew up on. We are so excited for Angeline to get back open. We can't wait to cook for you guys. I can't wait to go home and make some pizza and lasagna with my mom, and we can't wait to make it for you either. So all the patrons of Borgata, thank you for all the support over the time. We're gonna be back stronger than ever. Mom, I love you. Happy Mother's Day. All right, Borgata, we left the pizza cool. Now I can eat it. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Light, fluffy, and crunchy.